Telecommunications companies can now register Nigerians for their national identity numbers, NIN. The Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Aliyu Aziz, confirmed it. According to him, other licensed private and public institutions should commence the registration in order to address the crowds at the Commission's offices. A government directive that all telephone lines be linked to the NIN has since December 2020 triggered a frenzy at registration centers as citizens try to beat deadlines set by the government. Authorities have threatened to disconnect lines that are not enrolled by the NIMC by February the 9th.
And joining us now is Dyann Heward-Mills, who is a data privacy expert as well as the CEO of a data privacy consultancy based in the United Kingdom, to actually shed more light on this issue. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program. And of course, in recent times, we've seen a lot of Nigerians really talk about their privacy and their rights, really. But before we talk about the whole NIM saga and where we draw the line and all of that, let's talk about the basic premise, really, of data privacy rights. What are they?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to speak to you on this International Data Privacy Day, I must say. So I think the stars are aligned that we're talking about this topic today. The basic premise of data protection and data privacy rights is really protecting individuals and ensuring that their data is afforded the right level of dignity, because information about individuals can reveal a lot about them, about their habits, their likes, their dislikes, their political affiliations, and their interests. And actually that can be used to discriminate against them. So essentially what data protection rights are designed to do is to safeguard and to protect individuals' privacy and data dignity.
What are the common frontiers of data privacy abuse today? You know that the likes of WhatsApp, Facebook, and so on, all the other companies, they are having access to our data. Is it on the increase that there is some amount of abuse on the increase?
So it's really interesting, the evolution of data use. We've moved from an analog world to one which is very digitalized, and that digital transformation has been accelerated by COVID and the pandemic. And yes, the trends are for increased collection of data, increased use of data, and new innovations, new technologies that can process vast quantities of data at a phenomenal rate. The interesting point and the position that we maintain as a data protection office is that innovation can happen at the same time as privacy protection. We don't believe that they're mutually exclusive. And in fact, central to innovation is to ensure that individuals can trust. They can trust the technologies that are being developed and the use of data, whether that's by organizations or governments.
It's a good thing you've actually raised that point there, but in the case of Facebook and even WhatsApp, data sharing arrangement, we've seen a lot of controversy in recent times, especially with WhatsApp. What rights do the users really have, and where do monopoly laws restrain such an imposition by a service provider?
So it's interesting how this has really come to the fore, the change of terms and conditions by WhatsApp. And that's because of the reliance that so many individuals place on the use of these messaging platforms to communicate with loved ones and friends, family. So it's very, very interesting that WhatsApp was acquired by Facebook, and in the recent update to their terms and conditions, what they proposed to do was to share WhatsApp data with Facebook. Now, they carved out Europe and the UK and other jurisdictions that had high standards of data protection, but other jurisdictions, including Nigeria, were not afforded those same levels of protection. So, you know, individuals outside of Europe and in the UK were offered a lower standard of protection. And this rightly has caused a lot of criticism, to the extent that individuals actually have voted with their feet and have moved to using other platforms, messaging platforms, including individuals in the jurisdictions where higher protections exist. And I think what really is critical here is individuals recognizing that these rights, these data protection rights, should be global. They are human rights. Why should my friends and family in West Africa be afforded lower standards of protection than I'm afforded in the UK? And absolutely, it's critical that we have a choice in terms of the platforms and the technologies that we use. And it's critical for those organizations that provide these services to be accountable and to be transparent in how they use our data from the outset, from the time in which they're collecting the information, not to provide us with little choice, but to consent to terms and conditions that are really unfavorable to us and do not offer a real choice.
Citizens are being asked to harmonize their SIM card as the SIM phone code with their national identity numbers. Some are weary of the big brother tendencies of government. Is there a basis for being cautious about this and wondering how do you protect your privacy when all the data is in the hands of telecoms companies, governments, and agencies of government? How do you manage?
So again, as a data protection office, Heward-Mills' position is it's really, really important, whether you're a private organization or a public body or a government, to build the trust of individuals. If you do not have that trust, individuals are not going to volunteer their information. They are going to be cautious, and they will vote. They will vote with their feet, or they will exercise their democratic right in a way that demonstrates that they're unhappy with the way in which their information is being used. And I think it's really telling that Europe recognized the risk that vast collection of data could pose to individuals, perhaps because of the history of the atrocities of the Second World War, and how certain facts known about individuals could be used to punish and discriminate against them. And I think that's a lesson for the whole world, really, and jurisdictions outside of Europe. It's really, really important in the digital age that there is a race to the top here, that governments recognize that if they want to build trust with their citizens, that they should ensure that there are adequate safeguards in place so individuals do feel that they're not going to be exploited or discriminated against in the use of their information by public authorities.
Heward-Mills, we want to say thank you very much for your contribution on the issue of data privacy and the level of abuse that we've seen. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.